All right, stopping the camera until we can figure it out again. There you go. And it's Phillips and something else. Nah, we ain't playing those games. We are just going to smash that out of there. Hey, Rusty here. I'm gonna get back to work on the Fiero. It's kind of a gloomy, drizzly kind of day out here, so I'm not gonna try to do anything outside and then just get rained on immediately, because that's what will happen as soon as I start getting to work. So we're gonna get back to this thing. Off camera, I kind of figured out a way that the timing seemed to want to work. So what I need to do is just get the timing bolted down, and then I'm gonna give it a little bit of gas and try to get the car, just let the car run a little bit on camera, show you where we're at, and then I gotta take the top of that carburetor off and see what's going on with that float. I might take the whole carburetor out of there because it might be easier to work on it that way. We'll see. And then on this fuel line, the old one, you know, I had this bypass kind of thing going on. I might disconnect the line and blow on it and see if it's just bypassing or if it's only coming out one place, because that might be clogged up somehow. I don't know how, but maybe. So there shouldn't be that much pressure in there. I think the float's just not seated. Maybe in shipping, you know, it became jostled somehow, that however it's made inside, that the little clips came loose from the float or something, or the needle was never seated. But I'm gonna figure it out. So I'll bring you back once I got something going. Okay, I'm gonna get this fuel line disconnected. I'm gonna fill this up so that I can wean the carburetor, bottle feed the carburetor on it. So, first thing is to disconnect the fuel line from the carburetor. Then we'll get the battery back in here. It's been sitting there charging. Also, I want to see what happens if I hold pressure on this, if it'll bypass, or what will happen here. Because it should go this way and bypass back to the tank to recirculate. But things don't always go according to plan, because if they did, we'd be driving this thing already. Actually, when I bought it, the fuel injection would have never failed and I'd still be driving it. That's if things went according to plan. And of course, the battery is like way up in there. And if you slip and hit the window, you probably break the back window. I mean, there would be easier ways to put a battery back here, like top post. GM. But what do I know? I'm just a guy that's worked on more GMs than the guy who designed this thing, would be my guess. Since he probably was just an engineer, never worked on anything. Getting the negative hooked up because it's harder to reach. All right. I don't know what size those bolts are, so I just grabbed a little handful of wrenches. Let's see. 7/16 it is. Let's get this one tightened up. got this little ground cable I got shooting off the side. I'm just holding it in place so I can get a good ground whenever I tighten this bolt. And then we'll figure out what's going on with the coil wiring and the pump wiring later. I just need to get this thing to run. We can fix the wiring, that's not an issue. I'm not scared. All right, it's tight enough. This thing does crank pretty easy, so at least there's that going for us. Yeah, the key is in the ignition. The door is open. Sometimes that alarm would work and sometimes it wouldn't. There we go. That bolt wanted to get cross-threaded for some reason. Oh yeah, the reason is side post. Not only do they want to get cross-threaded pretty easy, but they also can't take that much torque. Hence the tiny wrench. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put some power to the pump. And I already rigged up this wiring in such a way that I could get the pump, I think. Let's see. Okay, so that's just ignition. And then the fuel pump, we grab this way, off of here, right? Let's see. Jeez, guess that was a ground. Oh, here's the fuel pump wire. All right. Okay, so there's no power going to ignition. Gas flowing out of there like you would hope. Now what happens if I plug it off? Yeah, it's bypassing. This is leaking somewhere, but it's bypassing like it should. So this float really couldn't hold back any pressure. So that's what I was trying to figure out. How bad was the float? It's definitely bad. This I can get some brass fittings for, which is what I needed to do all along. But I'll fix that in a second. Let's fill this up with some gas. That should be enough. Just put the remnants down the carburetor, right? Okay. That's a little bit of gasoline for later. I'll go ahead and turn the ignition on and also get this battery charger hooked up because we're going to be cranking. All right. Negatives on, and that's fuel pump. This is ignition. Ignition is hot. We're gonna crank it. Hopefully I won't lose as much oil now that I got that distributor tight. Making sure the camera's still in frame and everything. All right, we're gonna go for crankulations. Well, at least it didn't catch on fire. I forgot that this silly ass carburetor is got a choke that I need to disable, because it definitely doesn't do what it's supposed to when that's on. Looking for the right thing to shove in there. Maybe this will do the trick. No, too big. I'm trying to put my tools up as I grab them because I've been keeping a mess here lately. There we go. Now that's mostly open. Maybe we'll get some actual gas. And then, yeah, that's adjustable if it ever starts. Let's crank it now. Maybe I gotta put some gas down in the carburetor or it won't work. Or maybe I moved that distributor too much, but I thought I didn't. That's where it overflows from, so that should work, right? Let's see. Yeah, we got accelerator pump, so that should work. Move this gasoline out of the way. Trying to get the timing pretty much right. That way, whenever it starts, whenever I take the carburetor off, put it back on, and hopefully it'll be a success. Why is it being like this? Maybe I had it mostly like that, I thought. And then a little bit off. Let's see. Is my GoPro still hanging in there? It likes to die on me, so I gotta check. Okay, this thing wants to be silly. We lost our tack wire because it's stupid, everything's stupid today. But I know we got ignition. So it's all the way that way. See what happens. Well, it's not backfiring. Let's see. Let her know who the boss is. Maybe we gotta give it more this direction. I can't remember which direction was the right direction. Let's see. I didn't leave anything else disconnected, I don't think. Let's go all the way that way then. it's even more wide open. None of these vacuums are disconnected. All seems right. We don't really need that pulling on anything. Of course the phone would come in. Stupid telemarketers, I guarantee it. It only rang twice. That's AT&T letting the telemarketers go ahead and call you because the telemarketers pay AT&T. Yeah, freaking spam risk. See? You can go ahead and call that spam number all you want. It's a bunch of jackasses. Oh, here we go. I got some starter fluid. Maybe we'll have a decent backfire. And I plugged the vacuum a little bit different. Maybe that'll help. This thing sure is being picky. It was running earlier, I swear. All right, stopping the camera until we can figure it out again. Right, things are devolving, not evolving. So I put a bolt in here that's got a shorter head, and I shaved the side of this because it was catching paint on the side of my distributor. So now we should be able to put the distributor in and get a lot more rotation out of it. Oh, wait, I got to get rid of this plate real quick. And it's Phillips and something else. Nah, we ain't playing those games. We are just going to smash that out of there. That's moved out of the way. I think I'm going to use it to angle the air better to this resistor or whatever the hell. Without that thing, the freaking tachometer doesn't work. Otherwise, I'd get rid of that too. Okay, so I just stabbed it in any old way just to see. Now we got a full range of movement. So now we can probably get the timing dialed in. That's the idea. Now with the cap on, it's still going to come dangerously close to here and here. But we'll see. We can figure something out. That's a lot of movement. So I got to dial in number 1 where this is about right here. That way I can go this far this way, and then it's going to come in contact there. So yeah, hopefully we'll make some progress. I'm going to reset the timing and all that. The starter's impossible to get to because, you know, we had to garbage this whole engine compartment up with hoses and wires and shit just to run like a carbureted car would. Okay, we're basically going back to square one here. Make sure my ignition's off. Basically, we're going back to square one. I'm going to set the firing order once again. Yeah, on these V6s, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is 1, 3, 5 over here. This 2, 4, 6 over here. So, number 1 spark plug. We don't care where it's at on the distributor. I'm just gonna find number 1. Looks like these babies, I can't even see the spark plug. There's fake sensor wires in the way. Damn, it's way in there. So it's probably 5/8. Let me get that. Here's a 5/8. Got a ratchet over here. Just gonna make sure that that's right. I think it is, but it didn't seem to be going on there because the socket's probably not long enough. What the hell? Everything's got to be a struggle. There we go. I don't know why it didn't want to go in there. But we're not going to cry about it. We're going to keep moving. Probably only need one extension. Everything's going to be in the way. We're used to that because it's a Pontiac. There we go. Ah, dang. Probably ripped about 1,000,000 wires that I need. Anyways, that's the #1 spark plug. Becoming liberated as we speak. Turned 2 threads and now it's tight again. Okay. It wants to play games. This car's lazy. It doesn't want to hit the road ever. But we're not going to accept that. Next time it breaks down, I'll just put this thing for sale. Telemarketers calling me as soon as I start recording. You know, 2 rings only means it's a spam. You know that. All right. Somehow, even though I have them blocked, they'll get 2 rings, although it takes like 8 rings to get to my messages. But somehow they'll do 2 rings and get to my messages. Explain to me that, AT&T. All right, I got a remote crank here. Gonna find compression. There it is. Let's do it again. That was it, right? All right, let's go ahead and take the cap off so we can see where #1 is. And we will adjust our wires accordingly. The direction of rotation is clockwise on this engine. I was helping my cousin on his car and it was counterclockwise, believe it or not. And it's also a Pontiac, but much older. So, they were playing games. So you never know who you can trust. You can trust any of them. Okay, can you even see that? I should bring you in a little closer. Yeah, you can't see anything. You'll just be able to see the rotor turning there. And then we'll get a good idea where #1 should be. And then we'll adjust the timing accordingly on the cap. Now I can get a lot of rotation. So we'll see. I got my finger in the spark plug hole, and that's how you can hear it and feel it. Right there. Right there. Right, pointing at the carburetor. So now we know where #1 should be. Put this cap back on without ripping anything up, hopefully. That notch, that silly notch here. All right, so that should be #1, which is going over to, to #2. And then this, I guess, was the one that was going to #1. No, but we're gonna start over anyways because this is all organized wrong. Gonna fix the wiring a little better. And so the ones right there, I want to have the most rotation I can get, and that's only a little bit of a swing right there for adjusting timing. So I'm gonna move that like this. That on there secure. It's not much rotation there either. It's almost like this wasn't made for that. Come on. Every step's got to be a struggle. The Pontiac does not want to run. When it runs good, but it's lazy. And guess what? You ain't no race car. Only race cars get to be lazy. Only run hardcore and then nothing for a while. There we go. There we go. That's the rotation we want. So this being number one, and the more we go this way, the more advanced it gets, right? So we're gonna set it like that, and that should be kind of on a 0 timing. And if that works, then this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a firing order, believe it or not. So. Okay, caps on. All right, off camera, I'm gonna go ahead and put that back together, put the wires together, and then we'll be back. Okay, we got the spark plug wires back on, and I went ahead and gave it a little bit of advancement. It's probably way too much gas, but let's see if she's gonna crank or not. Right. Sounds like it wants to. Let's get some throttle going. Alright. Run out of gas. Now, does it crank without the wrench, right? Because then all I need to worry about is the float. But that's pretty good. That's clean revving right there. And I noticed I got one bad spark plug wire, but it's obviously still getting a connection. That's great news here. I bet you I threw a bunch of oil out. Not so bad. And this is 40 to 1, so it's smoking, but don't worry about that. I think that fills it up, right? Let's see what happens. I don't want to mess with the timing if it's going to just start until I get to another step or two. Nah, let's see. Let's do it like that. No, back more. It just doesn't start good like that. More? It's just the carburetor's not adjusted. Oh, there we go. All right, I need to take the top of that carburetor off. I got this little kit, so I should have the right Torx head to get it. It's got to be Torx. If I had the right hardware here, I would convert that thing to regular standard screws, but I don't have that stuff with me right now. Yeah, reverse. This one doesn't look too bad, I guess. I don't know if those two have to come out or not. Let's see. Yeah, they're kind of long, so maybe they go all through far enough. We don't want to drop anything down in the carburetor. Thankfully, the choke just closes by vacuum. But we're gonna... Yeah, those suckers are long. I'm just gonna put them on top of the battery here, you know, so they'll fall down and never be found again. Suckers are long, that's for sure. That one's a different length and a different thread. Okay, that'll work. This one's got to come out the side, I think, before I can get the top off. These ain't quite the right thread. Or maybe these cheap bits are wearing off already. Wouldn't surprise me. I'll put it back on by hand, don't worry. Okay. Looks like I got a slightly different size coming in from the side. Oh, that's the one. Let's see if I can get it with this tool. And maybe this one's the same size. Oh, of course not. That would make too much sense. As far as I can tell, that just holds the accelerator pump. But we gotta take that off. Okay, just move the accelerator pump lever out of the way. Now screw that back in a little bit. Okay, and then this one's a different size again. Because that's the way we do things. I think it's that one. We'll see what we see, and then I'm gonna eat some lunch. And that might be it for today. Sucker's kind of long. And it's starting to wedge this choke. Okay, got it out. To me, it looks like this should just kind of pull up and off. Oh, it's got a bracket way at the bottom. Come on, guys. How loose is this? Didn't move at all. Am I forgetting a bolt or two or three or five? I'll have to look from the other side. This kind of sits on a nub. There we go. I just needed it to be just a little bit out of the way. What's holding this carburetor base on? Other than factory goodness. Oh, there's a middle one. Is there any down in here? No, it's probably just that middle one only. That's the one that falls down the intake, right? Let's see. Yeah, okay. Come on, I don't want to have to take everything apart. Not that I care too much about this stuff, because a lot of it I'm going to disconnect later, but right now it was giving us some clean revs, so the carb itself is pretty decent. I'm trying to get this gasket off. I'll bring you around for a better angle in a moment. Come on. What's the holdup, guy? Okay, you can rotate that way. Trying to get the gasket off without tearing it. There it is. There's these studs, pretty large right there. Okay, from the other side, we should be able to see what's going on with the float. Why doesn't it work? Who knows, but we're gonna find out. Pull that assembly out. What are the odds it just slides off? Okay. There we go. The needle, nothing was pushing on the needle. I just pulled this right off. The needle's supposed to have a little spring that clips onto here, but that spring's not there. So there's the needle. Well, that probably explains it. What's this? To limit the amount of volume you can have in there? I'm gonna look in there and see if the spring's there, but my guess is that there's no spring. I mean, there's no clip, but we can manufacture something, or maybe find one at the parts store. But nobody does carburetors anymore, so they don't typically have the whole kit. Anyways, let's get way up in there and see what we see. I don't see it. This I don't want to mess with, but I don't see a little clip just laying there anywhere, so I'll probably have to pull one off of my Holly, I guess. See if I can get that needle out. Got these vice grips here, but we're not going to go crazy. We're just tickling it. There you go. Yeah, that clip, if it was ever there, it's at the bottom. Okay, I got the needle. So that explains that. To me it does. All right. So you see, here's the float, and the float is supposed to, when the float comes up, it rocks, and this portion goes down, this portion goes up when it fills up with gas, and it's supposed to push the needle down into the seat so that no more fuel can flow in. But without the little clip to hold it in place, it ain't gonna work. So that answers that question. That's probably all I'm gonna do for this video. I'm gonna have to find the right little clip for that. I might have to buy a rebuild kit, unfortunately, for a carburetor I just bought that was supposed to be remanufactured, but that's the way it goes. I mean, there's just people in third world countries rebuilding these things. So what do you expect? So thanks for watching, like and subscribe. We'll be getting this thing on the road hopefully in no time. Thank you, bye.